Morning from Washington is Democratic Congressman Mike Quigley from Illinois' 5th District and member of the House Intelligence Committee. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show today. A lot of talk about the whistleblower and the fact that it was hearsay, and a lot of that yesterday. But you said something that was interesting. You said sometimes that hearsay evidence can be better than hard evidence or actual evidence. How is that possible?
Well, I wouldn't call it actual evidence. I'd call it direct evidence.
Direct evidence, yes.
Sure. Look, how many times have you seen a person who's been put in jail for 20 years exonerated because the eyewitness recanted? Or they were just wrong. They got the wrong person. Eyewitness testimony can be extraordinarily questionable. And it's not that it's better or worse than hearsay. It depends on the circumstance of each case. Hearsay can be an excited utterance. Oh my God, I just did something terrible, or a statement against their own interests. That's hearsay. But the federal rules of evidence carve out 23 exceptions to the hearsay. It has everything to do with whether it's credible. Yesterday's witnesses talked about indirect evidence, but I think everyone in the room believed what they were saying. It depends on the circumstance. The fact is, in Chicago, we have a lot of unfortunate stories of elected officials and hardened criminals going to jail on what we would call hearsay evidence.
Congressman, after you adjourned yesterday, the party line from the GOP seemed to be, at the end of the day, there was no investigation and Ukraine ultimately got the money. How does that argument sit with you and your fellow Democratic colleagues?
Well, let's understand why the money was released. The only reason the military assistance was released was because of the whistleblower, right? The fact that that got out and was told the American people, and members of Congress were calling the White House and saying, "What are you doing?" So rather than attack the whistleblower, they should be thanking this person. And by the way, attacking them in the manner that was done yesterday is, there's only one word for it. It's dangerous. They could get this person killed. All the whistleblower did was pull the fire alarm. We have seen the smoke and the fire since that time.
Well, the White House press secretary, Stephanie Grisham, apparently, she said that the inquiry hearing, on Twitter anyway, she called it a sham. She said it was boring, a colossal waste of time and taxpayer money. What is your take on her angle there?
I let the American public decide. What you saw yesterday was some of the cream of our diplomatic corps. People have served under Democratic and Republican administrations. People who are fighting in war, serving in war zones. Ukraine is a war zone to the east. The Ambassador Taylor was at the front just in the last several weeks. He is a war hero. So it's hard to attack the credibility of people who spoke in a very clear, convincing and compelling manner yesterday. I suspect they wrote their sound bites at the White House the day before just because they knew they had to defend the President of the United States.
Congressman, this is not Watergate. A lot of folks are going to do this casually. They're going to pick up things they see in social media and what they hear perhaps on various news outlets. My question to you is, for those casual observers, why is giving money, aid to Ukraine, so important? Jim Jordan said they only withheld it for 55 days. What's the big deal? What would your direct opposition to that statement be?
Sure. The Ukrainians were justifiably worried that the word would get out that the aid was being withheld. The Russians, if they're anything, they're opportunistic. We learned that in Suez. If they saw that the aid, the assistance from the U.S. was faltering, they would use that in a manner to be even more aggressive in the fighting in the east. The fact is, it never should have been withheld. There's no justification. And Ukraine isn't just a country. It is a country on the front lines dealing with Russian aggression. And the leading experts will tell us all that it has national security implications for the United States. So the president put the national security of the United States at risk for his own political gain.
Mr. Quigley, thank you so much for joining us this morning here on Good Day Chicago. It's always nice to have your perspective from Washington.
Thank you. Anytime.